Hello, everyone. It's me again, Xeno, from the Chantry, your favorite Tremere here. And, of course, another Bloodlines 2 related video is here. This, the one you're watching right now. And, well, new Dev Diary dropped for Bloodlines 2 today, like an hour ago. So here I am, giving you an overview of it. Yeah. So last week, 2 weeks ago, actually, we read about the Camarilla Court. The Dev Diary introduced us to kindred from the Camarilla, like the prince, law that we knew already, the would-be sheriff, I guess, that we will have to beat up to take his position. The Toreador owning a club that shouldn't be owned by her, because we all know who should own this club. Yeah. And a very cute, nerdy Tremere. But today we're here to talk about Anarchs. Sure, let's do it. Okay, so not bad. They can be useful sometimes if given the right direction. But yeah, let's go. Dev Diary 17, The Anarchs and Unbound. Yeah. In today's Dev Diary, we'll introduce you to a few non-Camarilla kindred you'll meet in the game. As you might already know, Seattle is primarily a Camarilla-controlled city, but that doesn't mean that there aren't non-Camarilla kindred vying for power, or fighting to be left alone. That happens also. Once again, we've got writer Cherish Goldstraw and narrative director Ian Thomas describing the profiles to you as they appear at the beginning of our story. Okay. So once again, the form of this video will be like the last one. So we will read everything and then I will rate these Anarchs on how much I like their character and design. So yeah. Let's read right here. The Anarchs and Unbound. The Unbound are all those vampires who fall outside the Camarilla. Well, this is the term used by Camarilla. Or is it, though? Unbound, most like those vampires use this term to describe themselves. Because not all Unbound are Anarchs. Yeah, there's actually a term called Outraski, I think that it was that. And these vampires do not claim the allegiance to any sect. So no Camarilla, no Sabbat, no Anarchs, no other secret, weird vampire societies. So yeah, not every Unbound is an Anarch. Let's keep that in mind. The Anarch movement in its various forms is a subset of the Unbound, yes, and their most visible manifestation. That's true. Outside Sabbat, of course, but they are cuckoo. Many seek to escape from Camarilla control by hiding, but those loyal to the movement have decided to fight back, attempting to conquer and control domains originally held by those who would claim themselves as their masters. So basically that's how Anarchs work. They like more laid back Camarilla in most cases, but sometimes they can get actually pretty tyrannical, even more than Camarilla domains. But, well, the intentions are good, but the execution isn't always what was planned. But yeah, the Anarch movement is different in each city. Like I said, one is like a more laid-back Camarilla, and the other is like a police state sometimes even. Sometimes an Anarch city has a ruler called a Baron, so a guy overseeing the rest of the Anarchs, making sure that they don't break the effing masquerade, because Anarchs also follow the masquerade because it's just a common sense for a kindred to maintain the masquerade. Of course, if you're as a bat or just Bruja, then you most likely don't care about masquerade. Most commonly, it's led by gangs who each have their own territories. Some cities are currently divided between Anarch and Camarilla vampires, both sides itching to take over. That's true. It was actually shown very well in the Coteries of New York, Vampire the Masquerade visual novel. Very good, my favorite of the visual novels, at least till today, because I have bought Reckoning of New York and I plan to play it on weekends. So we'll see how that goes. But that doesn't matter, that's just me being me. Where Camarilla vampires usually influence mortal society from the outside, Anarchs burrow deep inside. Many maintain mortal identities, perhaps even families and jobs. This makes them simultaneously more vulnerable and more secure. That's true. Vulnerable because they are in contact with their surroundings every night and are sure to make mistakes. Secure because the Anarch is never the vampire lord in a mansion on a hill. They are the DJ in the nightclub, the terrifying cop from the internal affairs, the junkie creeping outside your window. From 5th edition book, yeah. This whole section was from 5th edition book, if I understand correctly. But yeah, Anarchs aren't like Camarilla vampires in approach to unlife and also to the rules they follow. They can be everyone, while the Camarilla Toreador is most likely a nightclub owner, a very popular artist or whatever. If then Camarilla Venture is most likely sitting on top of some giant tower at the center of a city, because why not? While an Anarch can be, like I said here, a DJ playing at some underground club, or just a, hobo living in the next to the sewer. Of course, it's not a rule, because Camarilla vampires can also be, can lay low, while Anarch vampires also can get their egos in their head and own a building and company, but, well, vampires will be vampires. Yeah. History of Thin Bloods in Seattle. So for those who don't know what Thin Bloods are, so vampires have this thing called generations, and the generation is what makes them strong, in a way. The lower generation, so the lower the number, like 7, 6, 5, 4, the stronger the vampire gets, because they get closer to Cain, the original vampire, according to the Book of Nod. And the thicker their blood gets, more power they have, more of this Cain essence in them, and they can use more powerful abilities, disciplines, and do some really crazy stuff. Of course, we have the Methuselahs, the 4th and 5th generational vampires, Antediluvians, the 3rd generation vampires, Watchers, 2nd generation, and of course Cain. And yeah, every generation has, in 5th edition, has this thing called blood potency. Blood potency is, well, how strong your blood is, how potent it is. And every generation has like a limit on how weak and how strong it can be. and it can be raised through magic, diablerie, or other things. And the more blood potency you have, the stronger your blood gets, to the limit of your generation. Of course, if you commit diablerie on a vampire of a lower generation, then your generation lowers also, and you unlock like a further path to raise your blood potency. Thin bloods are vampires of 14th, 16th, 17th, and so on generation, and their blood is so thin, thin bloods, so weak that they are barely vampires. They still are vampires, they still are immortal, they still don't really like the sun, but they are weaker, they heal slower, don't have really so much power as a normal vampire can have, and they're more human in a way. They are more in touch with their humanity. They can very often eat, their heart can beat, they can look alive. Of course, every vampire can look alive by using Blush of Life, but Finnbloods don't have to do that. And some say, there are rumors that Finnbloods can even reproduce through a normal human way and not a vampiric embrace. Some Finnbloods also can't embrace because their blood is so weak, but that depends on the Finnblood. Every Finnblood is different, so generations for Finnbloods don't matter. Finnblood of generation, let's say 20, if it ever gets that far, can be more powerful than a Finnblood of generation 15. And they don't have blood potency here. If you want to learn more about powers of Finnbloods and Finnbloods in general, I made a video, Chantry Lectures number, it was 3, I believe, where I talk about Finnblood alchemy. So yeah, I recommend you watching that. That's where I delve more into the whole Finnblood thing. But let's return here now that you know what Finnbloods are. Yeah. The strength of each vampire embraced is more diluted than that of their sire. So basically that's what I explained. Finnbloods have earned their name because their blood is seen as too distant removed from the original progenitor, Cain. Most kindred consider them a weakness and an embarrassment to their kind, or even a threat, because according to Book of Note and some other sources, appearance of Finnbloods is a sign of Gehenna, the vampiric apocalypse. Finnbloods are not considered part of any clan, but rather the dregs of kindred society. So yeah, also I will add this. Finnbloods don't have a clan. If a Tremere of 13th generation will embrace a new vampire, create a Finnblood, this vampire doesn't have a clan. They don't have a curse, then they don't have disciplines. They can, but they will be weaker. But yeah, no clan. They are also not really caitiff, because caitiff are still, proper kindred in a way, without a curse, but still fully kindred. But Finnbloods are not. Many view Finnbloods as a risk to the masquerade due to their close ties with the mortal world, like I said, often leading to their being hunted and destroyed without a second thought. Yeah, especially by Camarilla. And sometimes even Sabbath, but there are rumors that some Finnbloods found their place in this crazy sword of Cain. Overlooked and downtrodden, they band together in a form of resistance. Seattle acts as a haven of a sort. In this city, a weak-blooded are not destroyed out of hand. Instead, by order of Prince Campbell, they must be branded to set them apart from true vampires. Only then will he allow them to remain. So yeah, if Camarilla decides not to destroy Finnbloods in a city, these Finnbloods will be marked most often by a special Tremere tattoo artist, who will make an ink tattoo on them that helps track them. That's a weird thing to set them apart. Like, I get the marked part, they need to be marked too, but they're still kindred in a way. They can very well imitate being a normal vampire if they have a certain set of skills, but okay. As you say, Prince Campbell. Let's continue. Many have found shelter amongst those of Seattle's Anarchs, particularly under the watchful eye of the Bruja Katsumi. Okay. Not a Quajin. Kindred. Yeah. Despite this being a Asian-sounding name, not a Quajin. Who leads one of the major Anarch groups. Yeah, in one city, Anarchs can be separated in many groups, while in Camarilla it's most likely one court. And deal with the fact that many Anarchs and Thinbloods don't respect anyone as leader. Seattle is a powder keg, and each faction waits for its opportunity. Some are more impatient than others. If Fire is seeking Katsumi, she may find her at a bar called the Hole in the Wall, which the other misfits of her cause. Yeah. So now we see Katsumi. This is Katsumi Ishizaki. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But yeah, that's her, looking very Bruja-ish. Quote, "Tell the prince I'm busy. The only blood around here is Anarch. Always the way, right? I'm going to deal with it." Sounds cool. Description. Katsumi is a reluctant leader, forced by circumstance to speak for one of the larger groups of kindred that consists of Anarchs, Thinbloods, and other dregs of the city. Thinbloods can be Anarchs. They're still vampires, so I think they are considered here a separate group in a way, but they still can be a part of a sect. Mostly Camarilla manipulates Thinbloods. Hey, do something for us. We can treat you better if you do. And then they don't. But hey, then keep doing things for us until you, I don't know, die. Thinbloods are immortal. They still don't age. But still can be destroyed. She maintains an uneasy peace with the court, keeping a lid on the demands and fears of her followers as best she can. You will find her out on the streets among those who need her most, or at one of the spaces she maintains to keep her charges out of trouble. In her mortal life, she used to be a surgeon, as we can see by her attire, and while still trying to fix things, nowadays she is now mostly doing Traggle. So yeah, she looks interesting. Bruja, Anarch, either. Of course, Bruja. Most Anarchs are either Bruja or Gangrel. Because why not? Max Weber. Looks cool. Bruja Unbound, so not necessarily an Anarch. Quote, "I was a piece of shit when I was a mortal, but the embrace changed me. It took all my fear away, and I started to figure most assholes are just scared. I saw something in Benny. I thought he might be like me." If you don't remember, Benny is the current Camarilla sheriff at the moment Fire wakes up. And the guy I didn't like. I liked to don't like him, so he's actually a good character. So, yeah. Description. Usually placid for a Bruja and unusually submissive for a sire, Max is something of an anomaly. Yeah, because Bruja are usually, though, hot-blooded and everywhere. Like rats. And, well, no, that's Nosferatu. Preferring to steer clear of both Camarilla and the Anarchs, the only kindred Max seems to want any relationship with is his intimidating child, Benny, the Camarilla sheriff. Yeah. So this guy, this one right here, is a sire. So the one who turned into a vampire, Benny. Benny the asshole. Yeah. While many sires would forbid their child joining the court without them, Max seems content to live in Benny's formidable shadow. This strange dynamic between the two has raised many a kindred eyebrow, but few dare raise their voice for fear of rousing the sheriff's ire. Yep, because Benny is, Bruja, hot-blooded, and Max is an Unbound, so neither Anarch or Camarilla. He just is. Wanted to be left alone. Gangrel Unbound, Nicole Nix Lee. I think she was shown actually before, at least a concept art of her. Okay. She looks cool. Quote, "These city bloodsuckers live in a whole different world. Everyone's playing these high-stakes mind games, and I can't even beat the peg game over at the wagon wheel. I need to find ways to be useful if I want to survive here." She gives me a city general vibe from this quote, but we'll see. For those who don't know, in older editions, city gangrels were a bloodline of gangrels adapted to living in a city, like, coyotes and feral dogs, and not wolves. Description: confident, brash, and not to be trifled with. Nyx loves the thrill of the hunt and fights like the beast unleashed. However, her kind are not usually city dwellers, like I said, and Nyx has little patience or aptitude for navigating the intricacies of vampire politics. Nobody knows why she has suddenly appeared in Seattle, and the Camarilla are naturally suspicious. But the possibility of enticing a leashed gangrel into the ranks is a tempting prospect. So she's also not a gangrel, she also wants to just do her thing, and Camarilla wants to recruit her, it seems. Cool. Yeah, gangrels are very rarely seen in cities, just like werewolves. But as we know, or as I know at least, even werewolves can be found in a city, and so even gangrels can be found in the concrete jungle. Let's continue. Anarch, Finnblood, and Ghoul enemies. Also about enemies in the game, okay. Let's go. The Anarchs are the first and most numerous faction you'll be butting heads with in Bloodlines 2. While Katsumi has the respect of a large portion of the Anarchs and Finnbloods, not all of them follow her orders. Many have taken up residence in places you'll need to investigate or are actively working against you. That means that among the many enemies you'll face, Anarchs will use their powers against you. And so their members are a good baseline for the kind of threats you'll face throughout the game, roving gangs of getting ghouls, armed with whatever they can get their hands on, and young opportunistic kindred too naive to see the danger in taking on an elder face to face. Yeah, most Anarchs don't really care if you're an elder or not, and then they are surprised they got bitten into the concrete. Yep. Ghouls are a tough bunch. They can take significantly more of a beating than your run-of-the-mill human. But they aren't much of a threat alone. It's when they work together, some blood going you about, others carving you up, that you'll want to take them seriously. So keeping things quiet is a sensible approach. Their kindred masters are a much more potent threat. While they're not as skilled in their disciplines as others, they more than make up for it with hardware. So yeah, ghouls can also use disciplines on a very low level, like 1 or 2. Also, it depends on blood potency of their domitor, so the vampire who gave them blood. A low generation vampire, so the one with more blood potency, can bestow more power on a ghoul, while a 10th, 11th, 13th generation vampire can give some of this power. While thin bloods can't really make ghouls, some can, but these ghouls are, barely noticeable. As the situation in Seattle heats up, the Anarchs become more militaristic and heavily armed. But at their core, they've got more humanity at most. They'll be hesitant to shoot with their friends in the way, more receptive to manipulation and slower to catch who's been turned against them. All weaknesses that can be exploited. Yep, like I said, depends on the Anarchs. They can be a police state, more militaristic, or more humane. And here we see that they'll try to get some heavy weaponry because the situation in Seattle will get heated, but they're still more humane than Camarilla in a way. So that was that. Some interesting info and only 3 new characters shown. Actually, only like 2 because we saw Nyx before in a way. But also some informations about enemies in the game. We actually saw fighting with thin bloods and ghouls and mortals in the gameplay reveal. They were illusions, so I'm not sure if they are the same, but we'll see when the game comes out or when we will get another gameplay reveal. But yeah, what comes next? So on September 25th, so this month also, we will get Dev Diary 18 about world building, then October 9th, hunting and feeding. I'm very much looking forward to it, this one. And Dev Diary 20, Blood Resonance on October 24th. So, again, for those of you who don't know, a Blood Resonance is a new thing in V5. I mean, it was from the start of V5. It was borrowed, taken inspiration from Vampire the Requiem game. Also a cool game, go check it out. And is basically the emotional flavor of blood, if you can say that. A blood of a choleric resonance, so someone who is angry and excited will taste and have different effects than blood of someone who's sad and gloomy and, that's blood resonance. So here it will actually have an impact on gameplay, and that's cool. Blood Resonance also was supposed to be a big part of the original Bloodlines 2 version from Hardsuit Labs. So I'm happy they're bringing it back. And if you remember from the gameplay reveal, Fire had this like sixth sense, and she could see like veins inside enemies. Of course, there were illusions, so they didn't have a blood resonance, but I assume they will change color depending on the resonance, and this resonance will impact our powers, maybe some buffs, debuffs, and other things. But yeah, world building, hunting and feeding, and blood resonance. These things are what is next for Dev Diaries. I don't know if I will make videos about them, but we'll see. And now let's rate the characters, the Anarchs, and Unbound. Nicola Nix Lee, Gangrel. I like Gangrels. I prefer them over Bruja for a reason. Character-wise, I very like her. I like her very much. 9 out of 10. And design, she's fine. 7. Max. Design. No. Character 6. He seems very meek. And design 8. That's good. And Katsumi. Character, let's go 7. Yep, 7 design and 7 in character. So, well, that's that for this video. The Anarchs and Unbound. It didn't introduce us to a lot of Anarchs, like only one, because Katsumi and these two are Unbound, doing their own thing. And no Elif, sadly. But maybe, please, come on. The whole Chantry did a ritual. Come on. We will rain gargles on you. Come on, Elif. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'll see you in the next Bloodlines 2 related video, perhaps on September 25th, or October 9th, or October 24th. Depends on how intriguing this Dev Diaries will be. See ya.